Hi YouTubers. Today I want to talk about personal protective equipment, PPE, as being key to the early reopening of our country. Now, for right now, we do not have sufficient testing. Even when we get this sufficient testing, which may be a month away, there are still issues with it and limitations to it. So let me talk about a couple of those testing limitations. One is, if you do the regular virus test, the viral RNA, the RT-PCR test, and you get a result, positive or negative, it's telling you the result that there is an active infection for that point in time. Now, we know that people can incubate this infection anywhere from 2 to 14 days. And if, for example, somebody's incubating the infection and you test them, we'll say on day 3, and they test negative, that's not to say that 3 hours from the point that you took the test, they may start shedding the virus and be infectious to the people around them. And meanwhile, that person is thinking, well, I just got the test. I tested negative. I'm fine. Well, that person's not fine. He's infectious. In fact, he's highly infectious because it's most infectious early in the infection. But the test said he was negative. And the test wasn't wrong. At the point the test was done, he was not shedding the virus. So the test was a true negative, but the person was infected. So in effect, it gave you the wrong result for that reason. There can also be sampling errors. So if the person doesn't obtain the sample properly, the test could be falsely negative. Okay. The other issue, probably even more important than the issues I just mentioned, is that there are more people who are infected with COVID-19 right now who have no symptoms than have symptoms. So unless you're testing everybody and you're constantly repeating the test, you're not knowing about the majority of the people running around who are contagious. So let's say you're not what are currently classified as an essential or a healthcare worker or whatever, and you're working your job. Let's say you're working the cashier at the grocery store, and you got people lined up, and they're checking out, and it's taking, let's say, 5 minutes on average for each person to check out their grocery shopping. So meanwhile, you two are in contact with one another, and yeah, it's kind of hard to separate yourselves out 6 feet while this process is going on. It can be done, but my guess is it's not being done constantly. Not everybody is following the guidelines that they're supposed to about social distancing and wearing masks, etc. And if they don't, remember the cloth masks that they're saying that the public should use are not medical grade. They're not N95s. That means 50% or greater of the material goes right through the mask. Now, explain to me why the person working at the grocery counter needs less protection than the person working in the emergency room who's being exposed to a COVID-19 patient. Is the virus going to stop and say, hey, oh, you're a grocery worker. I won't bother you. I'm only going to bother the medical people. No, it doesn't work that way. It's a virus. It doesn't know who the hell you are or what you do. And if you are exposed to it and you're not protected, you're going to get infected. So my beef here is about the statement that the public does not need N95 masks and doesn't need the type of equipment that's being used in hospitals. Now, I understand perfectly well, and I agree 100%. that we need to prioritize that equipment and where it goes because we don't have enough. So yeah, it should go where it's going now. It should go to the hospitals and the medical professionals who are taking care of the people becoming sick with COVID-19. But that's because we don't have enough to go around, not because that if you're exposed, and let's say you're not a healthcare worker, and you're exposed to COVID-19, you don't need the same protection. So you should. So my thought is that if we could get areas of the country, businesses that don't normally have to worry about this kind of thing with infection control, but if they used hospital grade infection control equipment and policies, then why the hell can't they do their business and run their business same way the hospital is going? The hospitals aren't being shut down. Those people are protecting themselves and they're carrying on their work. So for example, in the shopping, the grocery store, the supermarket, put in plexiglass shields so that if somebody coughs or whatever, that person's behind that shield, the cashier, and the spray, the sneeze, it's just bouncing off the plexiglass. Let them wear an N95 mask. Why the hell should you allow 50% or more of the stuff to get through whatever they're wearing now? Is their life less important than anyone else's? So I think we can get the economy up and running, but it's going to be tough. One, we've got to get the equipment, the personal protective equipment, in large enough supplies that not only the hospitals and the medical providers have this, but everybody has it because we're all being exposed to it. You go out in public, like I was looking at the TV where they opened the beaches in Jacksonville, Florida, and all these people are commingling. Well, if they do that, they've got no protection from one another, and the virus is just going to spread from one to another. And if they're just wearing a cloth mask, well, if everybody's wearing a cloth mask, it might work because then they're protecting, each one wearing the cloth mask is protecting the people around them. But if they come near someone who's not wearing the mask, they're not protected against that person. So the virus is going to spread. And you tell me we're going to get 100% cooperation and compliance with the people in our country? It's like herding cats. It just isn't going to work. So we've got to ramp up our, if we ramp up our production of PPE, N95 masks, etc., then I think we can safely start opening sections of the economy, small businesses and all, where we can maintain disinfection, physical distancing, and maybe hire, instead of having the security guy walk around with a gun and all, or whatever, have him patrol to make sure that people are following the policies correctly so that they're not creating an infection danger to the people around them. So that's what I'd like, or what I wanted to say for today, and I hope you find the information useful. Thank you.